New on Curiosity Stream.
From time to time, we have collisions between asteroids and the Earth.
We track them, we study them, we hope the big one never comes. Don't look up, it's Asteroid Rush. And alligators. They rarely get sick. They even outlasted the dinosaurs. Could they hold the secret to human longevity?
Their blood could have antibacterial applications.
Wade into the investigation on immortal alligators. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
99.9 KISW. The Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill.
Now for all TV news all the time, it is time for TV Time with Ted.
And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box, the Men's Room presents TV Time with Ted.
Just remember that. All right. A little bit earlier, we were talking about Arbor Day, right?
Yes, of course. The 150th anniversary of Arbor Day.
Biggest holiday in the U.S.
It's a big one. It's up there with, I don't know. What did we just pass? Earth Day.
I'm going to go home and eat some tree tonight, Celebrate.
I had a salad today for lunch. That's like eating, yeah. I might smoke some trees.
Mm-hmm. Make some sassafras tea.
So I was talking about how in Iceland, they don't have a lot of trees because the ones they did have, the Vikings back in the day, chopped them all down and used them for houses or boats or whatever. Sure. Now, do you think I was watching a show on Iceland last night?
Yes. I'll say yes.
Sort of.
Vikings.
I was watching Running Wild with Bear Grylls.
Oh, okay.
Right. And he had one of the episodes, he had Terry Crews with him, and they were in Iceland. And it was like a,
They let Terry Crews in Iceland?
Mm-hmm. That way he couldn't get lost.
What was it? Yeah.
I didn't think they did that there.
I mean,
they wouldn't let Steve go to the hospital.
I know. They're like, no, we don't think so.
He's pretty close to a Viking. He's a giant dude. I mean, most of the Vikings were big, burly guys.
Mm-hmm.
So Running Wild with Bear Grylls, this was like an enhanced episode, so it put out like little tidbits and this and that.
Okay.
But I will say this. I watched the second half of an episode, and he had on Anthony Mackie, who I believe is Captain America, correct? Anthony Mackie?
No. He's the Falcon.
He's the Falcon.
Yes.
All right. So what he does is Bear Grylls was in special forces in Britain, in England, and that, and all this stuff. So he takes out these celebrities, and he puts them through like because he used to be he's a survival expert, this and that, and they have to go through these things. But like Anthony Mackie was really interesting. And I mean, he pushes these dudes to like their ultimate limits, right? Like Anthony Mackie and Terry Crews, like nobody's going to think those two guys aren't in shape, but he's just got them doing stuff that like they just never done before.
Right. Out of the comfort zone.
Out of the comfort zone. And then the other thing too is like they're so out of their comfort zone, and Bear does a good job of like when they're like on top of a mountain or just scaled a rock face or whatever, he'll just kind of hit them with like conversational questions. And I forgot, like, when you're that exhausted and tired, like, people really open up.
Mm-hmm. It's like having punch drunk.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part.
Yeah, it is. So it was really cool just watching, like, if you've never seen the show, it's it's an awesome show. And, like, look, Terry Crews, something that he's had a couple, not rough years, but he said some things that I think he said probably shouldn't have on certain matters. But, yeah, when you hear Terry Crews' story, you're like, wow. And, like, he's almost, like, crying at one point, talking about, his father, his parents and stuff. I didn't realize he grew up in that bad of a household and everything. And I thought he told a great story. Well, it's a horrible, horrible story, but it's a great ending. And he talked about when he was a kid, his dad would beat on his mother all the time, right? So then years later, he's already Terry Crews. He was in the NFL, I think, for like a year or two.
Yeah, something like that.
He's already an actor, and they're back at Christmas. And for some reason, the dad decides he's going to hit the mom again. So and they've just done something crazy, and they're just sitting out in the forest by a fire. And he goes, so I told everybody, I said, hey, get the kids, get out of the house. And he's like, I beat my father within a pulp of his life just so you could see how it felt for his mother. He goes, but Bear, it didn't feel good. He was like, it was awful. He was like, it didn't help. It didn't get over anything. And I was like, wow, like that's some deep stuff to be talking about. I was like, I'm saying it was a great episode. I mean, it's a sad story, but and he's like, look, me and my father still don't have the best relationship.
I would guess not. No.
We talked years later and stuff, but yeah, like I don't know. I just never heard that version of that story. You know what I mean? I've heard the version of like, oh, he finally got it. I got him. Yeah. But Terry was like, I didn't feel any better. I didn't feel anything.
You think Bear Grylls has ever like Jesus.
Bear's, I was shocked how good Bear was because he doesn't.
I've seen a couple of
He doesn't
shows.
get him chat. He just knows how to ask a couple questions and kind of let people talk.
Yeah, I've seen him with it was Drew Brees or something like that, and but it's the same kind of thing. I was just putting Drew Brees in positions that he would not normally be in. Like, hey, we're going to rappel down this sheer rock cliff, which Drew was not excited about, but he may end up and did it. But right, it was the same kind of thing in that moment. Before they decided to rappel, suddenly Drew opened up, and I'm like, I think if you make people think like my life is fleeting, suddenly they're willing to talk.
I read his autobiography. So he jumps out. Yeah, he jumps out of a helicopter, and the parachute basically just does not open.
Right.
All right. So it kind of does, but he smashes to the ground, breaks his back, and everything else. He's laying in the hospital ward and sees this thing on Everest, and he decides that that's going to be my rehab. That's how I'm going to
climb.
Correct my broken back, and I'm going to walk again.
Okay.
And I'm going to climb that mountain. And he did. in 6 months.
Damn.
He's standing granted, British Special Forces. This guy is
right. He's got a little bit of pedigree already.
Correct. But that's how he decided he was going to do his rehab. Here's what I'll do. I'll hike the tallest
That's a different mentality, man.
I'll hike the tallest mountain in the world.
Well, and also
and he did it.
Credit to him and the producers of his show because I've seen ones too with like Anthony Mackie's a superhero.
Yeah.
Right. So he's in phenomenal shape. Terry Crews is, but he has other ones where he just has on actors that
like Will Ferrell.
Really, Will Ferrell's
they climbed an ice. They find a waterfall that was frozen.
Right. So that's the other thing that amazes me is like he seems to be able to pick the level of what they can do because Anthony Mackie, they had to climb some sheer rock face and it's like freezing water on him. And I mean, he literally was like, I don't know if I can keep doing it. Like I got to quit. And I was like, there's no man, you broke a superhero.
You broke
and then
the
of course, right. And then of course Bear's like, no, you got it. But right, they get up there. He's like, Bear, I can't move my hands. They're numb, this and that. And he's like, but same exact thing. Like he's huffing and puffing. And then they have a real conversation. And underneath it goes, this is the last time they actually had a conversation was on top of this waterfall.
Yeah. I can believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, but you're right. I mean, it's the stories that these people who you recognize and are familiar with, they just open up and it's just legit. It's a legitimate story. They're not doing it for the pomp and circumstance. And they're like, all right, there's your humanity.
When you take someone to a level of mental and physical exhaustion, you get honesty.
Well, I mean, look, right? How many, all the years you played football, right? How many camps did you go to, right? And it sucks and everything. But then, that's where you bond and make those friends with people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, even in the NFL, the training camps, I don't think are what they used to be. Is they don't hit as much. You get to practice at your own facility. But it's that same kind of bonding in the misery and pushing yourself to that limit.
That's why at the end of the movie you see everybody crying. Whether it's they got eliminated from the playoffs or whatever it is.
Oh yeah,
somebody's got their hands in their face. You know what I mean? They're just because that was everything. That all of that was poured into that one thing, and now it's done.
But and that's something too.
It's kind of relieving, but it's also sad.
It is. And also, whether, I'm sure for a lot of people have done marathons or you hike a mountain or, I can always go back to the box and stuff. But right, when you train that hard for something and you're that physically exhausted, kind of some of the BS in your life that sits in the front of your head and stops you from maybe being this open or having those thoughts, it's just not there.
Right.
You're just happy to be alive still.
Right, exactly.
And breathing. But either way, I highly recommend that show. I had never really watched it. I was like, oh, Bear's out there doing stuff. It was really good. I thought it was awesome. All right, let's see. This one's a little strange. NBC, they're catching some heat because they had a tweet about the current Jeopardy champion, right, where they described her as, quote, a 23-year-old lesbian tutor from Toronto.
All right.
Tutor, I understand. I'm not sure why lesbian has to be the adjective there.
Don't know.
Yeah, that's...
Unless it's based on that content, which I'm not sure that...
But I don't...
How to be a heterosexual.
Right, but I think she's a tutor.
Yeah.
It's not like she's out there being like, are you a bad lesbian? Like, let me give you a class.
I'm not sure what that means.
Right.
Maybe I'm just not hip enough to understand.
Right, everybody was just like, why did you put lesbian tutor in front of that? And frankly, when I watch Jeopardy, I never think, I wonder what their sexuality is.
No.
Like, who cares? I'm just annoyed they know the answers. What
does that mean?
The internet, though, was having a ton of fun with that, and I think it's funny, too. Also, I don't know how you would have that job title, but, I don't think anybody's passing out cards that are like gay man tutor, or straight guy tutor.
Yeah.
Oh, were you used to be homosexual? You thinking about being hetero? I can coach you up.
I can recommend the Pet Shop Boys.
Right.
Let's start here in this genre of music.
Yeah. What would you give?
I know all those tunes. I hear them in the club. Shut up. Move on.
What's like a straight tune?
A straight tune?
Well, like there's always
how would you prep? Like,
well, there's gay anthems, right?
Right. You hear gay anthems.
Gay dude coach. Like, what do you do? Like, okay, here's Manilow. You got to like share all these basic dumbass stereotypes. Like,
that's what I'm saying. So what's the straight version?
We got to think of that.
You mean as far as just trying to get someone to be hetero?
Yeah, well, straight, like I'm just trying to think, like, what is there? I mean, I'm sure there's well, you know what? That's the deal. Okay. Most songs are probably straight anthems,
right? Yeah.
That's why we don't talk about it.
Hair metal.
Mm-hmm. Hair metal is, but also ironic because they look like chicks.
Yeah, they dress like chicks, but we like chicks. Like, okay.
Yeah. Still worry about the first time I saw the Skinny Bop video.
You go to taverns, not bars, where it smells like urine.
Right. Now you know.
Right.
If it smells like pee, I'm comfortable.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you like sports. Just hold this baseball bat.
Right.
And, act like you care.
Smell like pee, stare at the TV.
This kind of came out of left field here. James Corden announced last night that he's leaving the Late Late Show, not for another year. But he announced he's going to leave. He said, when I started this journey, it was always going to be just that. It was going to be a journey, an adventure. I never saw it as my final destination, Never wanted the show to overstay its welcome in any way. I always want to be love making it. And I really think a year from now will be a good time to move on and see what else might be out there.
No disrespect to him. I just I prefer Seth Meyers. Not so much his lead-in. Jimmy Fallon, at times...
I can't do it.
I can't either. But when the second late night show series things comes on, I'm over at Seth Meyers.
Yeah, I don't.
So I'll watch Trevor Noah every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I'll watch different things in the early slot. I used to still watch Conan when he was on TV.
Yeah.
I do like Kimmel. I like his approach. I like his interviews. It's not that I don't like Fallon. But I go back to NBC for the late stuff.
Yeah, and I like James Corden. I think one thing I liked about his show, I always liked that he brought out his guests at the same time.
Yeah, I do like that. I like that touch, right?
And kind of sit on the couch. And he had some good games, too, with like eating the weird stuff or this and that. Obviously, Carpool Karaoke was a massive, massive success.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's doing something like that primetime or hosting like a game show. Or
I don't think he's going away. I just don't think
doing
he's
something different.
He also might just go back across the pond. Because remember, look, I thought
his thing like that.
I thought Craig Ferguson was awesome.
I loved Craig Ferguson.
But Ferguson had I want to say about the same time, like 8 to 10 year run. Then he was like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah.
Did he go back over?
I don't know. I'm assuming he's spending more time over there. I haven't seen him
He's brilliant.
I thought he had one of the funniest goddamn shows.
He was great.
Ferguson was always funny too because I think you told me first. Like he's fully sleeved up and everything.
Oh yeah.
Most people don't know because he just has the old school of like cutting them off so you can't see underneath your dress
he is
shirt.
a tattoo junkie, man.
Yeah, and he, a lot of people get people get sober and stuff. Ferguson, though, was one of the few people I've ever seen have a show where, number one, he was very honest about, drugs and alcohol. But he still had so much weird stuff, like a stoner or somebody. You know what I mean? Like, I know he's not smoking, but it was like those stupid puppets and everything. Sure. It's like he knew exactly what his audience was doing and could still get into that mindset.
Mm-hmm. His show was great.
Yeah, it's like if you're at a bar, I don't know, you're driving or you got to do something so you're not drinking and like there's somebody there hammered. It's like, yeah, I know what he's doing, right? Like I can still play along.
His timing was great too. He'd just walk off camera.
Yeah,
he'd be gone he'd zip back in, and walk back out, and he was pretty good physically as far as comedy.
Yeah, and maybe now in that time slot they could hire a damn American. Mm-hmm. I'm just kidding.
Proud to be.
Well, I don't know if it's still this way, but for years the number one talk show host in the Netherlands. Was it just an American guy? You've never heard of him. He went over there, and he basically was like the Jay Leno of the Netherlands.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to pull that off one day. For a while, I just wanted to move to India.
It's like the guy went to China.
Why'd you
Michael Jordan of China.
Wait, why do you want to move to India?
Just because I think I'd be so weird. And I could be like an announcer for MMA and cricket.
Who's the NBA player who went over to China and now he's like the Michael Jordan as far as the shoes, the line?
Oh, Starbury. Stephon Marbury.
Stephon Marbury.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Yeah, he's huge.
He's got a trophy. Which is a massive deal. Let's see. Obviously, this weekend, if you're watching some stuff, I know a lot of people love Ozark. The series finale of Ozark, that's on Netflix this weekend if you want to check that out. I think the biggest thing for a lot of sports fans, you got the NFL draft going on.
Correct.
Look, not a lot of sexy picks, but Seahawks, to me, get an offensive lineman, get a running back.
They got one today.
Right, and they got an edge rusher. Like, they're doing a good job. And
they are, man. And keep in mind, you're building for the future. When you look at what a lot of these teams did in the first round, it wasn't quarterbacks or wide receiver. People are going defense.
Well, yeah, it was not so far not a sexy draft. Not it's quarterbacks
right.
and all
But
these
I will tell you this. The unsexiest drafts typically build the best teams. Without a doubt.
And don't worry. Next year, it's going to be all quarterbacks and wide receivers again.
It'll go right back to where it was,
Guaranteed.
yes.
Yeah.
Just don't trade these guys away. That's it. No Hutch to the Vikings deal. Thank you, Tim. We appreciate it. You are listening to The Men's Room.
The Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill. Now, let's see what's happening in the real world.
All right, here we go. A man goes into the Guinness Book of World Records after working in the same company for 84 years. Survey says 64% of workers would quit rather than return to the office because they really don't want to hang with their peers. Company surprise party caused employee to have a panic attack, so then he sues. Colorado report of wild pack of wolves guarded by elk is sure to amuse. And a guy hooked his microwave up to AI, and it tried to nuke him. It is time for your headlines.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's Mike Hawk.
I'm not Mike Hawk. I'm Steve the Thrill Hill. However, I do have some headlines. You talked about the man whose AI tried to kill him. That man is Lucas, not making his last name up, Risotto. He's going viral.
Delicious rice.
Yes, a video he made is now going viral that shows that his microwave was trying to murder him. Now, he's a futurist with a background in computer science, and as a kid, his microwave was his imaginary friend named Magnetron. Yes, he is a weird guy, but look, he decided to finally bring that friend to life by hooking his current microwave up to artificial intelligence. Now, he always imagined Magnetron as an old British guy, so that's the voice that he gave it. And it went pretty well at first, kind of like talking to Alexa, but smarter, until it started getting into politics, called Hitler the Walt Disney of Germany. This is his AI.
Wow.
Then, about 20 minutes into the video, things take an even darker turn when Magnetron says he wants to show Lucas something fun. And he asks him to, quote, enter the microwave. Now, the AI was not hooked up to a camera, didn't know how long or how big Lucas was, but Lucas decided to play along, so he opened the door, closed it again, told Magnetron that he was inside, and that's when the microwave suddenly turned on. So, in other words, it appears the AI was trying to trick him into getting into the microwave so that he could kill him. AI, ladies and gentlemen.
Even it's racist.
God damn.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
That's terrifying.
Would you like to climb in the microwave?
In theory, though, could somebody else have hacked in and made it do that?
I mean, in theory, but in the time he was doing it, it's unlikely. That's AI.
I'm still scared of it.
Hell yeah. That doesn't help.
Should be.
This story does not help.
Or those robot dogs.
Those things look creepy, but they're kind of cool. They look cool, man.
Here's the thing, you don't have to rush home. They won't pee in your home. Just program them. Get on your phone and go, don't pee, get back.
I know. I'm one of those people. It's like the self-driving cars, right? I'm convinced I don't want to get in one. It's a be like, you didn't pay a ticket or something. You're going to jail.
Straight to the police office.
Yep.
Look, we've been here, 17 years now?
Correct.
We're kind of proud of that. We feel like it's been a while. We got nothing. A guy named Walter Orthman. He's 100 years old. He lives in Brazil. He's been working at the same company since 1938. He has been working there for 84 years.
I just want to know what that company makes.
I don't know, man.
That's the thing. Is it chewing gum? Like, what's still...
You know what? It's a textile company.
Okay, that makes sense.
Textiles, Miles.
He started working there when he's 15, started as an assistant. Obviously, he's gotten multiple promotions. But as of February of this year, he was officially inducted into the Guinness Book of World Records because, he's never looked for another job.
How long had he been there?
84 years. He's still working there. He's 100 years old.
Zero retirement.
Yeah, man. On the other end of the spectrum, 2/3 of the global workforce, about 64%, said they've already or would consider looking for a new job if their employer wanted them back at the office full time. That's right. Resistance to returning to the office full-time is even stronger among younger employees. About 71% of people between the ages of 18 and 24, they said, hey, they consider looking for another job if the company insisted that they actually show up for work. Times have changed. If you watch hockey highlights, what's one of the favorite parts?
Fights.
The
Goals.
fights.
Oh, fights, yeah.
Well, guess what? There's a new sport called Ice Wars. It's a new combat league that pits ice hockey enforcers against each other, okay?
That was the storyline of Goon 2.
Basically, they take away the sticks, the puck, the nets. You're left with hockey players with nothing better to do than beat each other to a pulp. So essentially, man, they're given MMA gloves, right? 4-ounce gloves.
Ow.
They take 4-ounce gloves. They meet in center ice. They box each other for a minute at a time, take a minute off, come back, and box again.
More Men's Room coming up with the Men's Room Happy Hour exclusively on the Odyssey app. We'll see you there. If not, have a good weekend.
Yes, indeed. In the meantime, well, we be all about this bitch for 180 seconds or so. So until then, do what you do best. And for Aletha's sake, stay beautiful.
The Men's Room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided by Mantastic Limited. This has been a presentation of the Men's Room Radio Network.
Oh, man!
A Double Flush production.